Alright, so the next part of this project is now that I've got this stop plate installed, is right over here there's the spring tension plate, and we have to drill a new hole through it, which means I have to move this valve body out of the way. It's mounted here on the plate, so I'm going to pull it off, and then I'm going to show y'all about drilling this hole. Alright, so this part gets a little messy because you get hydraulic fluid everywhere when you take these lines loose. The only lines I took off were this one right down here, where this valve runs across the front here into this pump, and that's so I can get up in there to take these bolts out. Now the other thing I had to undo first before I did any of that is I had to take these 4 bolts out of the top for this filter so I can move it enough to get to these 2 bolts that bolts this block on. Now once I got that loose, I was able to get to those, and I had this line out of the way I could get my hand up in there. I just undone these 3 lines here on this side of the block, and I just set the block over. It didn't leak too much fluid. I might have lost a quart, so it's not that big of a deal. Move it over, and now I'm going to drill the holes in this. Let me show y'all where I'm going to drill these holes at. Okay, now hold on just a second. Okay, had some hydraulic fluid got on here somehow, a little drop. Anyway, as y'all can see, I marked my hole. It's supposed to be 19-30 seconds from the center of this hole to the center of the new hole. So I marked that, and now I'm going to drill my hole. It's a 7/16 hole to remount this spring. To get the tension off of the spring, I always use these little straps and stuff for stuff like this. I just run the strap through the center of the spring and pull it tight, and then I set the stop to hold this still so I could release the pressure off of it. And I pulled the bolt out and everything, and now I'm going to drill it, and then I'll put it all back on. Okay, now I got the hole drilled. As y'all can see, I mounted it on. I got the spring. I wasn't supposed to put the spring on, but I skipped ahead like I wasn't supposed to. I'm supposed to mount those plates down there on next before you put the spring on. If I have to, I'll take it back off, but I'm going to put the plates on. Now I'm back down here again. This little silver piece I was talking about, I've got to mount it back. So then I can take the other piece that they give you and bolt into the holes. So now we're going to stick this on. On to the next part. Next part is this plate that I thought went back in there. It mounts like this. Up in here. There you go. There we go. Now that we've got the pieces mounted up underneath the baler on that end, now we take this bar and we mount it to the pan. This is the bar that's going to be mounted on that rod where we fix the spring. And you take these bolts they give you, it's got little flat heads and pieces, and you bolt it onto there, and then I'll show y'all how to stick it up in there. As y'all can see, it is in there. So now we got to pin it in. The way you do that is you come right up here. Ow, that's not how you do it. Well, that was stupid. Anyway, I'm probably gonna have to hold it without the camera and do it, but you just slide these pins down into this bar, and then you put, or up from underneath like that, and then you put the clips in it. So me pick that thing back up and stick it on there. Okay, I've got this pan on. So now I'm going to actually show y'all what this thing does. Obviously the net flows in behind this pan, and the way it feeds and the way this new design is when this thing actuates, it clamps up against the belts like that. It flows into the chamber. Once the net is started, it releases and it pulls back away from the belts. Now, I don't think it's supposed to have this big a gap yet, but I haven't got everything adjusted and the other stops and all put on. We'll get to that in a minute. But that's got it pretty well, the hardware on. I've got to do some other stuff here in a minute, but first I'm going to put all this hydraulic valve bodies and everything back on before I move on to the next part. So I'll be right back. Hey everybody, me and Dixie are working today. Say, we Dixie? Yeah, we are. She's crazy. Anyway, I'm working on this Claas again with the kit. Today I'm finishing it up. I just like this one bar. I've been fiddling this thing off and on whenever I had a chance. So I've had a lot going on. I've been went and got tractor and bush hog at one of our farms about 45 minutes away with International early this morning. Got home from that, then sprayed Roundup around stuff here. Went and hauled some cattle with Papa, and I've been working on this thing probably ever since. So here we go. This is the next part. Flip y'all. All right, this is the next part. I went ahead and I've done it. Say y'all, whoop, don't drop it. Say y'all board them. Basically, you take this guard that didn't have these on it, and you weld these pieces on it. Now these are to hold your shield from falling down too far. This bolt's back underneath there on the shield. I'll set up the tripod here in a second. Y'all watch me put it on. But there's 6 of these pieces. 2 of them are bent, and then the rest of them are straight like that. It tells you to keep these at a certain height, like I think it's 3/16. There's supposed to be a measurement where you keep them, but I found that if you just lay it down on flat concrete, position them just like it is right now, it's where it's supposed to be. I measured them just to make sure, and then you just put them pair at 90-degree angle with the bar and weld them on. It says not to leave any burrs or anything, so I ground all these back down smooth, the welds, and got those off. I don't know why it really matters, because like I said, all this thing does is that shield rests on it, so it shouldn't matter. But I'm gonna stick this thing on right quick. Alright, I stuck it up in there. I just gotta tighten it up. It's just easier than to try to record and everything else while I do it. Alright, so this baler officially has the 460 tying system. No more canvas. It has the pan with the pieces that holds the pan on. It has the brace for the tension arm, and the holes have been drilled. Move that bolt for the tension spring, and the extra guard pieces, which was what I was trying to show y'all. This is that piece I had to bolt on the other end that they give me. When this thing clamps down, like I said, it just shoots up in there. Basically, all I had to do was I took the canvas off and all the bolts out of it that went across that end. I bolted this piece on. I then took this tin piece that replaces the canvas I pinned it into the bar that the canvas pins into. After I bolted this angle iron in that 10 piece together, then you have to come over here, put this bracket on, drill this hole through here underneath the original hole for your spring to mount on, and you weld the little pieces on this guard bar. It's pretty simple, and honestly it was after I figured out what it was trying to tell me in the instructions. There's a couple parts in this project in the manual, the wording was a little bit confusing on exactly what it wanted you to do. So what I did was I went down through the pictures in the book and I looked at it after it was done that it gave you, and I figured out that way what I needed to do. But being I've made this video, if anybody gets one of these kits, they can just look at it and it'll probably answer all the questions I had with it. But all in all, it's really not that hard to do. You just need a good drill, a welder, and a little bit of time, because you do have to take off, like I said, this block has to come off and undo these lines on this side, and you can peel it back over to here. You have to drill it, take this spring off, which is a little bit of a pain because it does have some tension on it. And I mean, really, that's the hardest parts. There's some tight areas to get into, but if you let the pickup mouth all the way down, it's not that bad. And you could technically take this bar off as well to get in there. Now I got to put my the bars back in there and set them back in for the pickup to hold the hay down. But that's the kit to turn a 360 tine system into a 460 tine system. So this baler is now basically a 460 as far as the tine goes. Now the 460 does have some more features like a grease block that I love to have, but I can do without that till we get a new baler. So this is going to help a lot, really help. So now I ain't gonna record this part, but I gotta adjust these springs, the tension on them, and the springs that set your crimp for your roller feed to start your net. I had them a little bit tuned a little different than what the book says because that canvas was wore out. So now I'm going to put it back the way it's supposed to be and see how it works. If it don't work good, I'll just put it back like I got it, and I'll write down all my numbers before I change anything, so that way it'll be a quick fix. But that's got the 360 into 460. I don't know. I mean, really, that was the biggest complaint I had with the baler, so I don't know of anything else I'd want to complain about if this turns out alright. So we'll see. It'd probably take me a little bit to get tuned properly, but